Very good evening. Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Thank you for joining Shri Bhagavad Gita Satsang, the Song of the Divine. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So we'll be continuing from chapter 2, that is Sankhyayoga, the yoga of knowledge. And we are covering right now from verse 54 to 72, which is all about marks of the man of stable mind and his glories as described by Lord Shri Krishna. So we finished verse 61. We will be starting from verse 62 onwards. The man dwelling on sense objects develops attachment for them. From attachment springs up desire, and from desire, which is unfulfilled desire, ensues anger. Okay, this is a very important verse. So let me read it once again and then explain to you. The man dwelling on sense objects develops attachment for them. From attachment springs up desire, and from unfulfilled desire ensues anger. Okay, this is a very, very important lesson. Let us understand what is Lord Shri Krishna saying. See, so far he's talking about the qualities of a man who has a stable of mind. How does he live, sit, stand, eat, walk, everything? Which is the question which Arjuna had asked Shri Krishna. So Lord Shri Krishna is now explaining to Arjuna. Now what is he saying in this verse? Saying man who's dwelling on sense objects develops attachment for them. It's a very, very, very interesting thing. See, I'll take a simple example. Say you have a thought. A thought is that I want to eat masala dosa today. I want to go to Vidyarthi Bhavan. I heard the masala dosa is very tasty over there. It's yummy. That is a thought, a sense object which is already in your mind. A desire to eat that masala dosa is already there. Okay. Now your mind is constantly dwelling on that masala dosa. That's a sense object. So it's constantly dwelling on it, and it is saying to you, oh, you know what, you should somehow go there today, you must eat it. And it's creating so much of craving within you that desire becomes uncontrollable. So till you don't satisfy that desire of eating that masala dosa by going to Vidyarthi Bhavan and eating that, your desire and your craving in the mind, or your mind dwelling on that sense object, is not going to stop. And so it's going to drive you towards that, constantly saying, come, let's make a plan today. We have to go to Vidyarthi Bhavan. We have to eat that masala dosa. So you already imagine the masala dosa is going to be this. It's going to taste, your body, your stomach has already released those juices to, receive the food, because it's a trigger. And it's a science, the mind already has prepared your body and your stomach is already ready to receive the food. So the thought that I want to eat that masala dosa, that sense object, your mind is dwelling in that. Till you don't fulfill that desire, you are not going to be in peace. Your mind is going to keep dwelling in that sense object. So what has it developed? It has developed an attachment. See, I took a very simple example of eating a masala dosa. Forget about that. There are different attachments that come about. And an attachment can be, it can be something which is going to be pleasurable, or it can be painful also. Either which way, both is an attachment. Whether you like something or you dislike something. And that's a big danger here. Even when it is a dislike, it is still an attachment. In our world, we might be accepting of certain people, and that's the way in the material world it works. And we might not be accepting of certain people. And in those times when you are not accepting of certain people, what happens is you're attached in the painful manner, because you're hating somebody, you're angry with that person, you dislike that person. Your mind is dwelling on that sense object. And what has it developed? It has developed an attachment. And what happens when that attachment comes in? So you're constantly either seething in anger. You are, oh, this person said this to me. And your mind is actually going to feed you more. It is going to instigate you more. See, this is how the mind works. See, the mind has a mind of its own. and the mind also has a nature. See, yesterday, if you remember, in the last satsang we did, Lord Shri Krishna was teaching, turbulent by nature, the senses. So what does it mean? Turbulent by nature, which means the senses also do have a nature. And what is the nature of that? Senses is to become turbulent. So when it is turbulent, what happens to us? We cannot control ourselves. And that is why in last few verses, Lord Shri Krishna is telling Arjuna, Arjuna, you need to be self-control. You have to have self-restraint. You have to control yourself. Nobody can do this for you. Till you don't practice, you cannot be in spiritual. See, yesterday, after doing the satsang, in the last satsang, I was, sharing my own understanding about what I was learning from this. I'm also equally learning along with you. And my Krishna Guruji was saying something very beautiful. See, people say the word spiritual. What does spiritual mean? Oh, I'm a spiritualist. I'm in spirituality. What does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. That means nothing at all. What does spiritual first mean? Spiritual first means understanding that I am not this body, I am the spirit. That is the primary thing of spirituality. But spirituality is all about evolving on that path, a journey. If you have a guru, you have been initiated, you have an opportunity to become spiritual in life. In this life of yours, in this human life. See, please remember, to attain God realization, three important things are very, essential. Three most primary requirements. One is, you need to have a human birth. So you have a human body, a perfect human body. Number two is, you need to have an intense or a burning desire to understand who you truly are. That's the innermost, your inner being has to seek that. Third thing is the grace of the God. When three things come together, then only the guru finds you, okay, not otherwise. And when you have an opportunity of being with a guru or having a guru in your life, two things can happen. He might initiate you on the path, or he might not initiate you on the path. The initiation is just that you are, accepted into the spiritual world. You have a full opportunity to become spiritualist. You can evolve in this life of yours. You're not bound by the material worldly duties. In the sense, you have to do the duties. That doesn't mean you cannot, you have to give up your responsibilities. Not at all. What I mean is that you have a qualification. You're qualified to be in spiritual, and your guru has already put you on the path. It means he has given you that choice of 100% being in spiritual and evolving in this human birth of yours. But it so happens that you take a decision that, no, I want to be in the material world. So there are a lot of people who will leave and go. Even after getting initiated, they walk out of it. So initiation is nothing but you are eligible. You have an opportunity to evolve. You can, say enough is enough. I want to have God realization. That is a choice that you can exercise. But if you choose to be in the material world and follow that path, that's a choice that you have exercised. So spirituality is nothing but, we just say it's an eligibility factor. Doesn't mean you're spiritual by any which way. To live one word of what Lord Shri Krishna is teaching in this is not such an easy thing. To understand this, to strive hard, to practice this, to apply this knowledge in your life is what really being spiritual means. He's in this entire second chapter. The second chapter summarizes the entire Bhagavad Gita. Only if Arjuna had listened to Lord Shri Krishna, he would have attained his realization right in second chapter, and he would have done his swadharma, following the path of dharma. But what happened? Arjuna did not listen. What does that tell you? The mind is not accepting of the answers. The mind is in its turbulent condition. He has been infatuated with emotions. He's been agitated. He doesn't know what to do. He's confused. So Lord Shri Krishna is imparting this most esoteric knowledge. And in all of this, he said something very, very important. He's talking about you need to attain the yoga of equanimity. You have to strive to practice the yoga of equanimity. And number two, he's talking about, Arjuna, you be self-controlled. So these are the things he's talking about. And then what is he saying? The next thing he's talking about, you cannot be dwelling in sense objects. And he's saying your right is to work alone. You are not going to be bothered about the end results, the fruit of action. So he's talking about selfless action. So these are some of the very important lessons. When you do this, then you are already living what Lord Shri Krishna is teaching you. But does it so easily happen? No. We get lost in the material world. We dwell on the sense objects. It is not easy to come, and your mind is going to continuously instigate you. And one very important lesson in all of this that happens, the mind will always show you that which is the truth. It will show you that is the falsehood. The mind, and that which is a falsehood, it will tell that is the truth. This is how the mind works. And when the God is actually, there are people and divine beings, when they are in front of you, will say, oh no, they are not the real ones. So it will always, instigate you against, because it doesn't want you to evolve on the path. It doesn't want you to, rise high above within yourself. It is always going to ensure you will fall down. And when you give in to this kind of a, dwelling in the sense objects, it is very easy. Because who's dwelling in the sense objects? The mind is dwelling. And when you let the mind dwell in that objects, you're going to fall. Your fall is for sure. Please remember, many a time, our ego thinks that, oh, we have had one up the other person. It's sort of a, it's just the ego trip we say, right? In human existence, it's all about, I want to be right. I want always to be right. But in spiritual, it doesn't work. It is nothing like a right and wrong. Everybody's point of view is from their petty point of understanding. But what is the truth? The truth is one alone, that God is real and everything else is unreal. And whatever that you think you know or you don't know is only the creation of your mind. So what makes you think you're right and somebody is wrong? But the truth is far beyond. To understand the truth, you have to evolve and to know what exactly the truth means. So it is not such an easy thing. So please remember, in this world, there are not even 99.9999% of the people are not even spiritual, not even 1%. And in that 0.1%, they are just it's like a dot. That is all. They are spiritual. They are also striving. They're struggling rather. It's not such an easy thing, because to going through this journey is very, very tough, while living in the material world and following the dictats of this spiritual, truth. It's very important. Those you have to adhere to what is being taught in the scripture. You cannot do anything the way you like it. Like my Krishna Guruji will say, no, there are certain things you need to follow up. When you become spiritual, when you keep rising higher and higher, there are the protocols, there are certain, ways which we have to, follow, and we have to apply in our own life. So we have to conduct in a particular manner. There are a lot of do's and don'ts that come about. We cannot behave any which way we want. We cannot speak any which way we want. And we cannot even keep thinking, good or bad about somebody. See, even if you can't do good to someone, don't do bad as well. So you cannot harbor bad thoughts. So who's going to do all of that? That the mind does. And what makes it do? It an attachment to the sense object. It keeps dwelling in that. Either good or bad, good or bad. And so what is he saying? The man dwelling on sense objects develops attachment for them. So even if I say, oh, I hate this person, I don't like this, it's still an attachment. The hate is also an attachment. The like is also an attachment. And please remember, the hate is a greater attachment than the like. So forever you're going to get attached to that object, and that's dangerous. And you're sanctioning yourself, the cycle of birth and death. So just because you were attached to that sense object, you have to be born again and again to fulfill whatever that little bit of karma that is there with that object. That can be anybody. It can be a father, mother, husband, wife, brother, sister, any relation. It can be your acquaintance. You might have just met people somewhere at your workplace, anywhere in the world. So it doesn't mean it's only, definitely attachment to your bodily parents and relatives are even stronger. That is why you're actually going to become bound with them. You have to keep being born to them again and again in some life or the other. It's only the role reversal that happens. So why do you need that miserable life? Why do you need to be born with them again and again? Why are you sanctioning yourself that many births? This is what Lord Shri Krishna is telling. This body is given. Use this body to redeem yourself. The highest goal is spiritual being. You have to redeem yourself. Don't dwell in the sense objects. Don't allow your mind to dwell in that. if we don't like something, or if we hear something that we think we don't like, or the mind says, oh look, this is what this person is talking about you, they're deriding you, they're putting you down. A lot of things the mind keeps giving, a lot of things it tells, nonsensical things it gives you. And if you even believe, you allow it to influence you, then you're lost, you're gone actually. Rising above becomes very difficult. Why? Because purity of mind is gone, purity of heart is not there, it's contaminated. One drop of potassium cyanide in a bottle of Ganga is poisonous. So God can never be with you at all. You can still be a robot functioning, but only with purity of heart, the purity of mind, goodness, love, can you evolve. And this is not for everybody, whether it is me or anybody in this world. Everybody, those who want to follow the path of spirituality, aspire for God realization, want a spiritual wheel in their life, they have to follow this. And if you're not able to achieve this, you're never going to be anywhere. Forget about being spiritual, you can't even be a good human being. Goodness doesn't mean like, you're nice to somebody, not nice to somebody. No, we need to have the same feeling towards everybody. That's very important. Goodness. See, like my Krishna Guruji will teach, we should never think bad for anyone. That's one very important thing. Within your heart, you should never have any bad thoughts for another person. Yeah, it's okay. You might not like that person, but always at least say good things. Or just say good. And even if you can't think good, don't think bad about anybody. Don't think anything at all. That is the greatest favor that you can do yourself. See, because it is not the other person's fault. It is your fault that will happen. It's not that other person is going to have any impact on them. It is the impact that you will bring upon yourself. So it is very dangerous. So don't. Like my Krishna Guruji will say sometimes, when I get angry with some people, when I know that, okay, something is going wrong, he'll say, your anger is going to rise them above. Why are you getting angry with them? You are redeeming them, and you are actually, going down because your anger is coming in. And then he says, you need to, focus on your own spiritual wheel. Don't ignore them. Let them be how they want. Why are you trying to change anybody? Why are you doing good to any? Good in the sense, yeah, I have to do good, not in that context. If I am going to say certain things, no, this is right, this is wrong, I'm correcting them. It is for their good, but I'm only lifting them up by me by me getting angry. I'm rising them above. I'm redeeming their sins. I don't have to do that. So we just have to let it be, and we just have to, be nice to everybody. That is what it is important. Whether you like it or not, you just do Krishna Arpan. If you don't like it, just move away from that place. That's the best thing that you can do. See, because the attachment of hatred is greater than the attachment of love. Because in hate, you will be hating that person so much that you will have to meet that person again in the next life, in the role reversal, whereas that person has to hate you. Why do you need that bondage with anybody? You don't need to. Here we are talking about becoming free, and here if you get into this mind game and you start dwelling on the sense objects, you're going to become bound. You don't have to become bound. That is what Lord Shri Krishna is saying. Don't become attached to anybody. Don't have any attachment to anyone, whether it is your father, mother, brother, sister, husband, wife. You cannot. Otherwise, you will have to, in the next life, your wife will become your husband. She will have to be a husband and you have to be the wife. So you both will have to have the same, you will be in the receiving end. Why do you need to get into that? So redeem yourself in this life, God-given opportunity. If you don't care for yourself, your own spiritual wheel, nobody will. So self-upliftment is important. But the choice rests with you. See, Lord Shri Krishna is very clear. It is you who have to work. You who have to put effort. He can only teach Arjuna. But Arjuna has to lift the bow and arrow and shoot. And that's a very important thing. So what else he says here? From attachment springs up desire. Oh my God. That's a very dangerous thing. From attachment springs up desire. The attachment that I need to have a, beautiful sari. I want that sari. The moment I like that attachment, okay, I want this color. I want this sari. What happens? From that springs up desire. Desire of what? I want to possess that. I want to have the best of everything in my life. I want to own a house. I want to own a car. I want a BMW. I want this. I want that. I want that. I want that. Our desires are endless. Or we'll see. See, everybody has a desire in their own space. Somebody might desire $1 billion, somebody might desire just $100,000, somebody even might desire just 100,000 rupees. It doesn't matter. But anything is a desire. At the end of the day, everything is a desire. The scale can vary. It doesn't matter really. But it is still a desire. So what happens? From attachment springs up desire. The desire that, my wife should love me, my husband should love me, they need to say nice things about me. I wish my husband will give me a nice gift for my wedding anniversary or for my, my birthday. The children expects, my father should, do this for me. I want him to take me to a fancy holiday, on a fancy holiday. So, to a fancy location. So a lot of desires that comes about in a person. This because too much expectation. We have expectations. One very important lesson when you are on the path of spiritual is we don't expect anything from anybody. Please remember. See, one very important lesson is that at the end of the day, the one who gives, the one who takes it away as well, it's only the divine Lord. So you don't even have to expect from the Lord. Even when you expect from the Lord that He will give, that's still a desire. You just have to say thank you for everything, and what is the prayer it should be? Thank you for my life. Thank you for everything that you are. Always let your grace be on my head and nothing shall befall me. Give me the grace so that I am capable of doing whatever that I am chosen to do in this world. That is the prayer you need to have. And please remember, God will give you everything that you need to get. Whatever that you have to rightfully get, He will anyways give you. It's anyways going to come to you. But remember that coming to you will only happen at God's appointed timing. And for that, we have to work really hard. And this is something my Guruji will always keep telling us. He will say, your productivity is very low. You need to increase your productivity. Even today, my Krishna Guruji will say, no, you are stretching time. You have to compress time. You have to do a lot of things in that amount of whatever the time is there. You have to compress and you have to do a lot of things from that. You have to be able to achieve too many things because today that is the need of the hour, and we cannot waste time. Time is God. He wrote a very beautiful post on Facebook in which he says, Krishna says, tie me with love. I am time. Tie me. That's like bind me with time. So Krishna is time, and you can achieve the time and win Him only through love, not with your hatred, ill will, having some ill feelings against anybody. We can't. You can't harbor negative thoughts. You can't make judgments in your mind. Who is she to talk like that, or who is he to talk like that? We can't say all of that. We are not here to judge anybody else. Please remember, everybody is perfect in their places. God has given everybody a duty. They are born there because that is the job that they do. I keep saying this, we are all a block, we are the perfect piece in that entire jigsaw puzzle. And if we don't fit in that, then the jigsaw puzzle becomes incomplete. So you are perfect in your place. Likewise, we say, even a blade of grass doesn't move without the will of the divine Lord. So what makes you or anybody else think that, okay, it is me who's doing it? Like Lord Shri Krishna said, Arjuna, please remember one very important thing. You are not the cause of the fruit of the action. What does that mean? That means don't think because of you, the end result is because of you, because you are doing it. I am the one who's doing it. Oh, I am the one who's making this. It's because of me, I. It doesn't work like that. Please remember, you're just a chosen one. You're mere a tool in the hands of the divine Lord. He's using you to serve His purpose in this world. Everybody is actually an instrument of the divine Lord. But what happens to that I in us? We think I am the doer, ego. We take the ownership of doership. You take that doership. You attribute the doership to this body called I. I am doing it. It's because of me this is happening. That's how we attribute. I did it. No, you can't take the sense, you cannot have the sense of doership within you. You are not the doer. Please remember, you are just mere tool in the hands of the divine Lord. And when you have that bhav, I am mere serving my Lord, then the sense of doership will go away from you. And you will not also be attached to the fruits of the action. Whatever that you do, you're not going to be bothered about what is the end result going to be. End result is never in our hands. So why are we even attached to that end result? Oh, it has to be this. Oh, I have to win alone. See, like my Krishna Guruji has taught, you have to plan to win. But whether you're going to win or you're going to fail is never in your hands. Your right is to work alone, Arjuna. That is all Lord Shri Krishna is saying. He is not saying, oh, you don't work, but I will give you success. Or you work, I will only guarantee you success. It doesn't work like that also. Many a time in life, you are going to fail, and sometimes you are going to succeed as well. Both are going to be. So it's about success and failure equally. But does it mean that you get deterred by what happens in your life? No. It's a part and parcel of our life. And that is part of growing in our world. Until the time we don't understand this truth, we are always going to keep struggling with our life. And most important is that we don't accept our life. Acceptance doesn't come to a human being. And since we don't accept, we are constantly agitated in our mind. Why is my life like this? We question our life. See, remember, everybody's born in a certain family. They have a certain life because of the karma. That's their past karmas. This body has its prarabdha karma. So you have come in this life is for repayment. The prarabdha karma is all about repayment. And whether you like it or not, whether it is good or bad, both is a repayment. And you are here to only repay that bit. Until the time you don't accept this, you're going to keep struggling. You're going to feel, I don't like this. Look at my friends. Look at my, some other family. Look at this person. He's achieved this. She's achieving this. Where am I in life? All those things are going to hanker. Please remember, God knows what is good for you. And He will only give you that which is good for you. But we think, no, that is not what we want. We want something different. We always will aspire something which we think, oh, this is my ambition. This is the goal. I want to achieve this. That is how we humans think. And then what happens? Then we rue that. But when you surrender to the will of the Divine Lord, you will become extremely contented, because what God bestows upon you is beyond your own ken and understanding as well. It's beyond what your mind has even asked. So, never ever have this desire. Just let the desire be. Don't have the desire at all. So it says, from attachment springs up desire. And when this desire comes about, it is always going to hanker for what is that I want to achieve. How do I achieve this desire in my life? So you're constantly going to be running after the desire. And then what happens? And very important thing, if your desire gets fulfilled, then you will be a happy person for that moment alone. And then what happens? Then the next desire comes, and the next, and the next, and the next. It keeps coming on, okay? And from unfulfilled desire ensues anger. What happens to us? If our desire gets fulfilled, then we are very happy. But then if the desire is unfulfilled, you become angry. And you know what? That anger is piling up within yourself. You're bottling up. Oh, I didn't get this. I did not get in my childhood. I didn't get to cut a cake. My dad didn't celebrate my birthday. I was not given the good clothes, or I was not sent to a good schooling. I was not given a good life. We have too many unfulfilled desires, which we believe it is rightfully we need to get. And when this doesn't come to you, we bottle up within us. And what happens? Finally, one day, that it all becomes, it's bottled up, and one day you burst out. And that anger is destroying everything. It destroys everything within you that you might have achieved. Because of that unfulfilled desires, that anger comes in. You have to go to any person in this world. You can do your own assessment. Sometimes we get really angry with too many things. We think the cause of that anger is somebody, then object outside. If you actually go and analyze it within yourself, going to the roots, my Krishna Guruji has always made me to go to a root. He'll make me do a very good exercise. And that is, he'll say, why are you angry? You go to the root, the cause. Try to find out what is that creating that anger. And when I go to the bottom of it, the roots exactly, where is this anger stemming from? And when I look at that, it is all from unfulfilled desires. It is always connected to something that you have not been able to achieve in your life. And that unfulfilled desire ensues anger. And that's a very destructive thing. Please remember, it's a self-destructive. You think, you can throw away things, you can walk out in life. Please remember, that will not only destroy you and the people around, people associated with you also, it can cause harm. So it's very dangerous. So never have this unfulfilled, the anger which is stemming from the unfulfilled desires. So how do you overcome? What is the solution to this? Very simple. The solution is very simple. When you surrender to the divine Lord and say, I samarpan, what you have to bestow upon me is your choice. I'm not going to be running after things. I'm not going to be bothered about I want this, I want that. It doesn't matter. What has to come will anyways come to me. So why am I bothered? So why am I running after fulfilling those petty desires of mine? It's very stupid things, but there's no need for those desires. And when you samarpan like that, let me tell you, your life becomes very beautiful and you become contented with what you have, living in that moment, living in the present in a very beautiful manner, God-pleasing life. See, you're not responsible for somebody else's suffering. You need to understand. Even if it is this body's, like say, you have your parents or you have your brother, sister, niece, nephew, your friends. You're not the one who's responsible for somebody else's suffering. If your mother is suffering, your father is suffering from sickness, or your brother is suffering, or he's, telling something to you, not telling something to you, a lot of things, your sister is suffering. Everybody is suffering for their own prarabdha karma. It's not your responsibility. What they're going through is their karma alone. Please remember, everybody goes through their part of the repayment. So what makes you think it is because of you, you need to be doing something or not something? See, at the end of the day, one very important lesson. I am not responsible for this body's parents or anybody else in this world. The one who has given birth to them is responsible. So what makes us think that I am the one who's responsible to take care of my father, mother, brother, sister, husband, wife? No, I am not. I just need to do my duty as a good daughter, good son. That's all we have to do. As a good wife, good husband, we need to be our good self. That is what my Krishna Guruji teaches. At the end of the day, the Karta Dharta is one alone, the Lord Himself. So when you understand at the finer nuances of this whole thing, you will not take responsibility that I am the person who needs to take care, or I am the one who has to achieve something in my life, and these are my desires. I need it to be fulfilled. So you're not going to bottle up. You're going to become free the day you let go. But that letting go never happens. You know why? Because the man dwelling on sense objects develops attachment for them. And this attachment is very difficult to go away from you. You know why? You're so attached to that object. The object can be not just a relationship. Relationship though, it's very dangerous. Because the moment you get attached to any kind of a relationship, you're sanctioning yourself that many birth and death. That's a cycle of birth and death. You're guaranteeing yourself to eternity that you're going to be born again and again. That's even more dangerous. But even the sense objects, that is also dangerous. In Ramakrishna Paramahamsaji's Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, in that Ramakrishna Paramahamsaji says something very beautiful. He wanted to wear a shawl with a zari border, and he says to Mathur Babu, bring that shawl for me. I want to wear with a red zari border, golden border. And he gets that shawl, he wears it for 5 minutes and then chucks it away. What does it mean? Even that little desire that I want to wear this, I want to eat this, you will have to be born again. Even that smallest, even as tiny desire as that. So imagine people holding up so many desires in them. What will happen to them? So my Krishna Guruji has made me go through this exercise, a very beautiful way to solve this. And when we go to the roots and understand what is that causing that anger for anybody in this world, it will be something, some unfulfilled desire which is there within them, which is eating them up. And that is what is causing that anger to come out. And so they react in a certain way. So they respond in a certain way. But that reaction and response can be detrimental, not only to that person, but people associated with them as well. They're not only going to destroy their own life, but people associated as well. And that's something you need to be very careful about. And forget about other people. You're going to destroy your own life big time. So whatever that opportunity to rise above comes in your life, you will fall down very easily. So never harbor this. Don't get attached to any sense object. It is not worth it, let me tell you. And please give up your desires. See, you have to just say this. Lord Shri Krishna, whoever is your Ishta, you surrender to him. I samarpan to you. What you have to give me, you will anyways give me. Why am I going to be bothered? I don't want to run after my desires. See, please remember, when you go to different temples and you go to different deities, and you keep asking them, God, please fulfill this desire, fulfill that desire. The desire is fulfilled, but at a cost. You become adheen to them. You're bound by them. And then what? Then you're for eternity, you become their slave. You don't know what you get in, what you're going to get into, or what you're getting into. Today the world doesn't understand. They're all lost in that. They go to temple because they want something. They are not going because they want a spiritual will. They're not going because they want to worship God or thank God. They're going because they want something from God. It is always that you carry that big bottomless pit, bowl. It's like a bottomless pit. It's never ending. It's your desires are insatiable. So when can you ever redeem yourself? That is what he's saying. This one verse itself will be stuck to eternity because we are unable to get out of that attachment. And that desires are so strong. From that attachment springs desires. And it's not one desire. Now it will be n number of desires. It's too many. And that to fulfilling that desire, you will have to strive your entire life. And then you will be lost in that world. And what have you lived at the end of the day? A miserable human being's existence. A mundane existence, which every other Tom, Dick and Harry will live. He'll work really hard, make money for his family, try to build. But the family is never going to be happy with you. No matter what you do, they will find faults with you. They will still be saying, oh, this is not enough, that is not enough. Then you can never make them happy. Please remember. You can buy, it's a woman's nature. You can buy her the most beautiful thing in life. She'll say, yeah, I'm very happy. My husband is such a nice person. Same thing with the husband. If the wife, panders to him, he'll say, oh, she's such a nice wife. She made good food. She makes all these things, It's momentary. Then what happens? Then the next desire stems. Oh, my husband doesn't buy me anything at all. My dad doesn't buy me anything at all. The children will say, oh, you don't take us out. You don't buy us things. That is all it's all about. So, you keep you working hard, striving hard to satisfy their desires. And what happens? In the process, you're lost. So where is spiritual in any of this? You're completely lost in dwelling in that sense object. And your attachments keep growing from one to another to manifold. And then there is no redemption from this. Please remember. Because what happens if those attachments are creating so many desires, not all your desires are going to be fulfilled. So those unfulfilled desires are going to cause you anger. It ensues anger. And that is very, 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 very dangerous. Please remember, never get into that mode at all in your life. Because there is no way you can get out unless and until you have a real master with you. The Divine Lord Himself in the form of a Guru who can guide you on the path, who can impart the most esoteric knowledge and teach you why you should never get into any of these kind of attachments or neither have any kind of desires. And not just that, having a master is enough. If you don't learn from him, if you don't apply that knowledge, what you have learned from him, it still doesn't make sense. Like I told you, my Krishna Guruji just said, it's only an eligibility factor. You can be with the God Himself doesn't mean you're spiritual in any which way. Spirituality is a very profound subject. This is not just Bhagavad Gita scripture. This is Lord Shri Krishna Himself. He is teaching. Every word is the gospel truth. This is the truth. This is the knowledge, the Divine Lord Himself. This is Satchidanand. Sat, that is truth. Chit is knowledge. And Anand is the bliss. That is what it is. Truth, knowledge and bliss. When you live these words, you attain. You become that divine being. Lord Shri Krishna yourself, that Paramatma. And if that is not your goal, then don't waste anybody's time. Don't call yourself spiritual. Because the word spirituality is being abused like nobody's business. People don't even understand one word of iota of what spiritual is, and then they will try to give, it's like one blind man giving a knowledge to another person. They will go discuss spirituality without even having an understanding or neither being on the path of spirituality. So don't use this word spiritual, It's become a fad among everybody today. Oh, I am a spiritualist. I am a spiritual. What is spiritual? Please ask this. First, do you know the S of spirituality? You don't know. So you go find out. Till you don't have the knowledge, don't open your mouth and talk anything. And even when you have the knowledge, you become silent. You will not discuss this knowledge with someone who is not of that caliber, because his mind is going to give his own interpretation. His mind is fantastic because it is telling him, oh, him or her, anybody, right? It's telling them, oh, I know, you know this, this is what they are saying. The judgment that mind makes. First, come with humility to learn. First, you have to overcome all this. Till the point which we have discussed, you have to overcome the attachment to sense objects, dwelling in desires, giving up desires. That is what is very important. Till the time you don't achieve this, where is spirituality in you? You're still going to be suffering. The reason you suffer is because of this. Because we have not let go. We have not become detached. The most important words, that is the foundation, the very foundation of spirituality, is becoming dispassionate, becoming detached, and then you will be able to discriminate. Dispassion doesn't come. We are passionate about everything. We are passionate about our life. We want to live in a certain way. We want to do certain things. We want to achieve certain things. That is becoming full of passion. That's passion in life. Then what? Detachment. Detachment doesn't come because we're always dwelling in the sense objects. So where is the question of detachment? See, God can give you an opportunity. God can only take you to, it's like the horse can be taken to a river to drink the water, but God is not going to drink the water for you, or the horse is not going to drink the water. I mean, you can't make the horse drink the water. The horse has to drink the water on its own. You can only show the path. You can guide that person. See, don't do this or do this. If your mind has its own self-conceit and deceit, and you come into your own ego and ahankar, it's the greatest thing, I, me and minus. When that ego comes in and you say, no, this is me, I will be like this, I will do like this, and you're determined, falling prey to your mind's self-conceit and deceit, please remember, you're actually going downward spiral. There is no way in life you can rise above. One very important lesson which my Krishna Guruji teach all of us is that when we are evolving on the path of spirituality, as we go higher and higher, the lessons get tougher and tougher. There are going to be a lot of tests that's going to come. And you know what? It's when you're at a low level, even if you fall, the impact is not too much. But when you rise above, and one mistake of yours, you can fall down from there. All that you have struggled hard to achieve will go away in one go. Like that, in a jiffy, you would have lost everything. And then what happens? Again, to climb that level, you have to put 100 times or 1,000 times more effort to achieve it. So he'll always say, don't lose that sanity, don't lose that what you have achieved to date just for stupid mind of yours, which is going to come. That is how the world works. Because to become a perfect being, to becoming that divine, to have that absolute purity of heart, 100% purity of your mind, you have to go through that fire. You are that gold. You cannot have any impurities. The gold has to become aparanji. The 100% pure form of gold is called aparanji. To be that gold and to be the purity, you have to go through that fire. And that fire is that learning. That learning curve is very important, and you have to journey that. But if you can't do that, then don't come into it. It's not for you then. Then you have to stay away from it. It's as simple as that. And then follow your worldly duties. That's exactly how it works. But if you are very keen on attaining your spiritual will, please give up, dwelling on sense objects, and ensure that you're not going into this desires, because the desires will grow in manifold. You will not know what hit you from one desire to the other desire to the other desire. And when those desires are not fulfilled, it will ensue anger, and that anger will lead to destruction, which we will learn in the next verse in our next satsang. I hope you learned today's lesson, which is all about detachment, which is about giving up desires. Don't get into having too many desires. Even one desire can cause you misery. So give up attachment and dwelling on sense objects. So with that, we end today's satsang. Thank you for joining. Shri Bhagavad Gita Satsang. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha. Om Shri Gurudev Datta. Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Digambara Digambara Shripad Vallabha Digambara. Om Shri Krishna Gurunath Natha Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Devi Durgaya Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum.